So here we are live. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Women of the Stars. We just flew out and we finally picked Terry up. She's on board the ship. And we are we've flown out to Australia to go pick up Sequoia and get us to get her to tell us about all her new exciting plans and her new book and the things that she has set out for women. Sequoia Haskell, I don't know. I think one night I might have saw you while I was here at 2 a.m. in Florida on Easter time. And I just loved her beautiful accent and I loved her beautiful red hair. And I would just listen to her sometimes and it was like heart, 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 heart. She was so amazing on Facebook. And I know that I entered a time of extreme sadness and I needed some help. And it was like, where's this lady again? I gotta find her. And it's like, I couldn't remember. I knew it began with an S and then I searched and found you. And you did an amazing reading for me. You did an amazing healing for me that you probably don't know this, but when you allowed me to record it, I still listen to it. And I still go back and look for lessons today that I can still learn from that. But that light that you drew into me and the things that you pulled out, I was going through such a traumatic time. And I will always be so grateful for sometimes they say you have to borrow someone else's energy. So I was just extremely grateful that you were able to loan me this energy or transmute this energy from source and give it to me at a time when I needed it the most. Because I think I was really in a time of self-doubt and I really felt really crushed, my spirits. And ever since then, life has been changing for me leaps and bounds in this last year and maybe 2 months since we truly were able to connect and not just watch you, but to actually spend time and get love from you. So I'll be eternally grateful for that. And I'm so excited to see you and to see you doing new things. But I will be quiet and allow you to introduce yourself and tell people what it is that you do and why.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Lovely. It was such a blessing to work with you. I love your energy. You're just amazing, beautiful heart. So, yes, my name's Sequoia. I am a clairvoyant and I call myself a shit shifter because I help people get in and shift their shit, which is basically, all of the stuff that we've carried with us from this lifetime. Inner child, once the inner child is set free, because we carry so much trauma from our childhood. And once we release that and allow the inner child to be free, everything in life changes, because we're not coming from that place of fear anymore, that place of, we're not good enough or judgment. And so my journey was lots of adversity growing up, abuse, neglect, domestic violence, homelessness, all sorts of things. So I see each of those things that I've experienced as a gift to be able to heal myself and to find tools to heal myself and then to share those tools with other people. So I love what I do. And my life's moving ahead in leaps and bounds as well, too, just in the last year through massive transformation, lots of healing, lots of inner work. And it's like everything's having a cumulative effect and it's all sort of manifesting in the outer world now. So, and here I am today talking to you. So that's an outer manifestation of all of the inner work. So I just feel very blessed to be on this journey.
So how did you start in life? Is this something in childhood that you noticed that you had the ability to help and touch others? Did people seek you out? I know a lot of times we don't notice. It's like you're in the grocery store and it's, why are people always coming to talk to me about their problems? Or why am I in class? I noticed too, like when I would work, I would see people that are in pain, and you just kind of know intuitively they were in pain. Or how did that work for you? How did you notice like something is different about me and now I have to do something about it?
So when I was little, we used to live in a place where there was a tiny little house, and then there was a big empty nurse's home, and there was stuff going on. There was a predatory non-family member. So I would disassociate and go off into spirit. So I would just leave my body. And I had this family that I didn't realize, I just didn't realize that it was a spirit family. But there was an old man, and he'd play the pianola, and there was a beautiful woman, and she'd be cooking, and there'd be all of these kids, and we'd be flying around the room and doing all of this stuff. And then down the track, and then they sort of left me, and I felt quite abandoned by them. Like it was a spirit family, and I felt quite abandoned by them. And I sort of felt like I've always felt like I've been alone. I've always felt like I'm different to everybody else. I see things differently. I feel things. I know things that I would say as a child would happen, but it was always overactive imagination. So you sort of shut yourself down. And then as a teenager, doing drugs and alcohol as you do, I would see things like, huge things around people. And there was a time where, I was driving along the road, and I saw a man on a motorbike hitting a truck, and his head was not severed, but like his neck was broken. It was just the most horrific thing. And I got there and it had happened. And I actually thought I'd made it happen because I just read a book about mind, what you think is what you create, what you attract, and all of that sort of stuff. And I saw 3 other accidents, and I thought I was going crazy because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm making these things happen. So I went to see a psychologist, and they said I was paranoid schizophrenic because I saw things and heard voices, and she wanted to put me on drugs. And I was like, that didn't feel right. So I've always had this feeling when things aren't right, this sort of knowing. And everything that I've experienced, it's always like I've had like a witness part of myself, a witness that knows that, yes, you'll get through this. There's a reason for it. And that just observes, doesn't judge, and I've had a pretty random life. But so, and then I went to see a past life therapist when I was pregnant with my first son, because I've just like the visions and things were just coming in really strong. And so she took me back into this healing, back in ancient times as a healer, and way before Egyptian times. And there's a big like rose quartz cave, and I was taken in there, and people would come, and there were like healing waters, and people would come and they'd hand me their clothes, and they'd walk through the waters and they'd be healed at the other end. So this is in the past life thing. So I would hand them back their clothes, and that was the gift. So it sort of helped me understand what was going on more, because then I did a 4-year spiritual development course to help understand, because you keep shutting yourself down, and then you say things, and then, I've had a few slaps across the faces because, oh my God, I can see this. So you sort of shut it down. So the whole journey has been about healing my inner self to be able to be my higher self. So I feel like I'm, the whole process is about, becoming more of self-mastery. As we heal ourselves more and we raise our vibration, things in your life start transmuting. But there's always those belief systems that keep coming up, the mind that sort of takes itself on a journey. So for me, it's about learning to master the mind so that it's not the controller of me anymore. It's not going to take me off on these places where I'm not trusting my intuition, where I'm, and it's always a masterpiece in the making. It's always an ever ongoing process of growing and evolving. So I don't know if that answers.
It does. So was there ever a point where you just thought, I want to just ignore this. I want to not participate in this. I know you pretty much said that, but I guess I was wondering about that situation where, because here you are, there's someone trying to put you in a facility. So I don't know, would you consider that like your dark night of the soul timing, or where you just like a trial? Because I think that's how most of us feel when we're seeing things, hearing things, or even just following people like you. Someone would say, oh, why are you watching this, or why are you reading this, or why are you, they'll doubt us just because of the conversations that we have, and it's tempting to want to back down and back out of this, but somehow you conquered yourself to the point where you stuck with it and you kept going. What do you think motivated you or got you through these times? Like, was it that you went into the course, or was it before the course that you realized, like, no, I'm not going to worry about what everybody else is saying, and I'm going to just push forward. I know what I feel is right.
Well, there's two, because I've had quite a few dark nights of the soul.
Oh, wow.
And so the first one, where I realized I was a healer, I went up in flames when I was cooking. So that's like the perfect, witch burning thing. And so I was in hospital for a month in isolation. I had these really intense burns, and they were going to put a rat skin on my skin, like as a skin graft. And I got the nurse to bring it in and show me. It's like, there's no way in hell you're putting that near my body. So I sat up all night and I healed it. I willed it to heal. So that was my knowing that, there was something greater. And I'd always been clairvoyant. I'd always been, that's always been my gift, is my vision. And then the polarity of that was, a few years down the track, I married a very violent man, like extremely violent, who was a Catholic. And so it was like, well, after a short period of time, it's like, you can share your gift, or you can, it was like, do my gift or do him, sort of thing, And it was like, well, what do I do? Cut my arm off or cut my heart out? Because this is my heart. This is what I do. But I shut it down because of what I had to experience in that relationship. And it was a really violent relationship, but it was also my greatest teacher, because, people warn me, don't go there because you'll, he'll beat you, beat your kids and all of that sort of stuff. And I went in with the agenda, I can heal him. But he was my greatest healer. He was my greatest teacher, because my anger was equal to his, but mine was passive. His was physical. So he was actually the mirror. He showed me the mirror inside of me, because I always thought I was a calm, cruisy person, but I've sort of always siphoned my anger in a really unhealthy ways. So he was actually my greatest gift in learning self-love, going through that process of violence, and then there was a wake-up call one day, and that where I had a black eye, I was pregnant, smoking a cigarette, and thinking there's something wrong with it, and thinking, something wrong. And I just, I had this massive black eye, and I'd hidden for days to go to the supermarket, but, it sort of spread down the side of my face. And that was sort of like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I actually doing? I can't do this anymore. I'm teaching my children dishonesty. I'm teaching them dysfunction. I'm teaching them not to love yourself, not to honor yourself. So that was actually a big wake-up call. And it was going to a friend's place, because every time, he got violent, I'd take my kids, pack them up, and we'd go to my friend's place. And one day, and I had like a little baby, and I was pregnant, the whole thing, and 2 other kids. And one day she said, I'm sorry, you can't come here anymore, because you come here, we help you, we support you, we love you, and then you go back. And it doesn't just it affects my whole family, so we can't do this. And that was like, oh my God. And that was actually my being released from that, it was like, right, I'm not doing this anymore. So that took me on a whole new journey of self-awareness and self-love. And I'm really thankful to my ex-husband, because he has been my greatest teacher in self-love. And the 2 children that I had to him, my son will never, ever hit a woman, and my daughter will never attract it. So we've broken a huge genetic lineage of stuff as well, too.
So can I ask you?
For the friend that decided not to let you come back anymore, it's really hard. I want Terry to speak, but it's really hard to watch people hurt themselves. Like after, my mom has quadruple bypass, and then she goes right out of the wheelchair. She's still in the wheelchair, leaving the hospital, and she's still with smoke. And I just really was like, can you just, I don't want to be involved, and I don't want to watch it anymore. And so I think as friends or associates, and even a person, like if you were healing or working on a person, if you saw them every time you help them and goes back, I mean, do you respond in that fashion too, where you get to this point where you're like, I think I have to let you go?
I do, but I also say to people, I give you the tools. I can't tell you how to do it. I can give you the tools, but it's up to you to use them. And I'm always sharing tools, always. And some people use them, some people don't. And then some people's lives move on and other people wonder why. But it's like, if I can give people the tools and then hand that responsibility back to them, because I used to think, oh, it was my job, but it's actually not. I'm just the channel and the conduit to give people the tools to empower themselves. And it's up to them to use them.
So my question goes back to when your friend said to you, I can't do this anymore. And you said, well, that moved you on. But what were the tools that you used at that? What did you do to get yourself out of that? Because you didn't have that support anymore that you had become accustomed to. So what was it within you how did you overcome that situation? Because we always hear about, well, this happened and then you're on the other side. But the important thing is for people to understand that there is that transition period. And how did you, and this is important for all of us, how did you do it? How did you get from that point to where you are immediately, so to speak, and not where you are now, but get yourself propelled into another direction?
So the actual point of making the decision, it's like, that's it, I'm done. And I had this power that came through me that I've always had, like we've always had, but we lose it. So it's like, I can keep being the victim or I can be the victor. And it was like, I just had this knowing of what I had to do. And it's like, okay, universe. And I've always been a manifestor, right? Universe, we need to move somewhere safe. And everything just happens. Like once you make that decision, it's like, and you have that right, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. And it was like, I just had this knowing of, right, and every step unfolded and all of these amazing things happened. Like we ended up going into women's refuge, was there for 6 weeks. It was the best thing I ever did because I was the only one there. I got to help people that were in there. And that also showed me another part of my journey is that I can help people, I can help people at a different level because I understand what they're going through. And I had this little girl that used to come into my room and her mother was a drug addict and her father had beaten her up. And this little 5-year-old, tiny little 5-year-old used to come into my room. She'd tried to pull dad off mum, all of this stuff. And I thought, wow. So that just took me to another level in my journey of the more I can heal myself and my feelings of unworthiness, the more I can share that with other people. So I started off with like just learning different modalities as I've gone. And around that time, I was having craniosacral therapy done, which sort of put all of the chakras and everything back together. And so I was just finding these different modalities because I had to put myself back together first. And that was the most important thing. And I also ended up having the most amazing support, like people around me that I wouldn't have expected because I'd made that decision. And that was what the turning point was, is like, I'm done with this. I'm worthy of more. So that was
I think that is something phenomenal because people think it's the support sometimes that helps them when sometimes being backed in the corner gives you the power to really search. Yeah. Like if you were being buried alive in a pit, or if you were, completely homeless in a city where you didn't have anyone and you only had to dig inside you to rely on you. I think some people maybe feel like you say it's their job to help, but people have to, like you said, take the tools that they've been given in life and make it work. That they have to really come to this point where there is no back door. And that is at the point of when you know who you are. Some people would say too that when we want to help people, I guess I'm looking at it from a perspective where I see people who always want to help someone and they don't maybe realize that they're taking on someone else's karma.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowing them to learn their lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had anything to say about that, like what you feel or what you've learned in that aspect, in that area.
So that has been a big thing for me, because I'm an Aquarian. I just want the whole world to be whole, healed and happy. And, that's my humanitarian thing. But what I've learned is that I can't help anyone that doesn't want to help themselves. And I used to probably push onto people, oh my God, you should do this. And you should, but it's like, unless people are ready and they want to do the work, I'm not prepared to put my energy into them anymore. Like I'll help anybody, but people have to want to help themselves. And that's been the big thing too. And that's a boundary for me as well too, because you'd end up being so depleted, and then you're being an empath, you feel their pain and you take it on and everything. And so now it's like I can help in a more empowered way only when people want it. And I like it when people are right on that edge of the cliff, and I'll push them off the cliff, but I'll jump with them and I'll hold their hand, to know that we're going to fly. And that's the only time that people actually really make a change in their life, is when they're pushed to it, because things don't affect you until it's right in your face, which is sad. That's sad.
Absolutely.
Right. One thing I was going to point out, I used to be the biggest, I want to say the biggest loser, but that's just to be funny. But the biggest, like, if somebody said, "Oh, I really want a job," I'd be like, "Oh, you want a job? Here, let's get on the computer. We can find a job. Let me help you get a resume. Let me get you a business card. I'll drive you to the appointment." Oh, wait a minute. You went into the appointment and you walked out. You didn't even go do it. Like, I would take people there and back. And then I started realizing, like, the steps that you can see when people want help, because sometimes people just like to talk about their problems. That's what I say. And you have to recognize the difference between people who are talking about their problems and people who are actively trying to do something about it. And I noticed too now, I gave somebody else some websites for women that need help, and they were like, we weren't even finished with the conversation. She said, "Oh my God, these are so good. These are different than the ones that I've seen." And she was already on the site. So it was like I gave her this little nugget and she already flew with it. This person, like, she's already got a house now. It hasn't been 30 days since I gave her this information. I don't know if that is what helped her, but I know that she was so actively in pursuit. So when what would you tell people, as in, how do you know the signs of a person who wants help or just wants to talk about their problems? Because you help so many people. That's you.
I've sort of defined with spirit who spirit brings to me now. Because I can, because the solution always lies within the problem. So I can give you solutions, but again, it's like, do you really want to? Because some people are happy in their misery. Some people are happy to stay in their drama and their poverty consciousness and everything. And it's like, so I tend to move, like I'll be around groups of people and then I'll just leave, because it's like, I do what I can do, but then I have to keep moving. I've got to keep growing. Some people grow with you, some people don't. Some people just stay back in their comfort zones. So it's that, and also too, like, the problem is never what people think it is. And that's what I found with my healing, is that, like, I'll say, like, they'll tell me everything that's going on, and I'll go, okay, so what happened when you were 7? Because that's where I use my clairvoyance to tune into people's wounding. What happened when you were 7? What was going on then? Because the feeling that you're having now is the feeling that you were having then, and everything's overwhelming. And once you actually unleash that and you give those emotions of that time a voice, the problems that you had in front of you, they're actually gifts, because it's like, oh, okay, I didn't see it that way. Now I can see it a different way, and I can find a different solution.
This is magical, because I used to tell people that at times in the past, I would lament in my, like, wallow in it. Oh my God, woe is me, the sadness. And I think sometimes for people who aren't aware of certain, like, being addicted to drama, that they don't really understand that some people actually enjoy it. And then and it's funny that you said you move out of the groups of people, because it settles into these groups of people that they don't challenge each other to grow. And I like to talk about my problems, and then I'll allow you to talk about your problems. And then we can just blame it on the rain, and because of all of this and because of all of that's why all these things are happening, but it's never anything that's happening with me. You know, if my mom didn't do this when I was 7, then, oh my God, then I just wouldn't be this way. But, you know, that's a contributory factor, but that's not the summary whole of who you are. These obstacles are stuff that you're supposed to work on. One thing I was thinking of, and it's amazing that you even brought up domestic violence, because I was in a domestic violence situation before, but what we just got through having a conversation about was women being empowered to move out of these situations, but not just women, but healers that are in these situations, and they're wondering why they can't reach their full potential because you're being dominated in one area or controlled. But this level of pain or distress that you're in doesn't allow you to move forward. I mean, for myself, like I can get physical pain when I'm in uncomfortable situations, and it's not because someone physically did anything to me, it's because I'm unhappy with my feelings. Have you been finding that your body is telling you sometimes, like, get away, move, stop, no?
Yeah, the black eye did it. Have you got it yet? Have you got it yet? Yeah.
Well, true. It's like literally beating the sense into you, right? Like, or
exactly.
Beating out. But like now with you or with your clients, are you? I guess you seem like you've come so far that maybe you don't allow yourself to get to this point where you need physical pain as a trigger to make decisions anymore.
No. And also too, like there was because I'm a galactic guardian, I'm a cosmic guardian, I'm here to raise the consciousness of humanity. I used to feel all of Earth's pain, you know, like when there was an earthquake, I'd vomit, or there was, you know, and I was like, and I had to say, and that was a boundary that I had to put in with spirit. I don't want to feel this anymore. It's not my pain to feel. Yes, I can empathize with it, but I don't need to feel it. And since that, I haven't had to feel the physical pain of others either, because that's a choice as well. Like, you know, like that's a choice that I've had to learn as well too, because you want everyone to be, but you know, like I used to walk into the supermarket and I'd walk out and I'd be like, oh my God, I feel so sad, and I feel, oh my God, my shoulders hurt, and it wasn't even mine.
Right. Yeah. That's totally what I'm talking about, because it's like I reserve my energy for me and I leave behind the rest. Like, you don't even have to give people your energy. Some people are giving away their energy even during the healings, you know, but we define this as in going to source to bring it through. One thing that stood out too is good night, craniosacral therapy. I've heard about it for years, but I haven't found it in the US. Is this something that is online, or is it like physical therapy? Is it something you get done?
It's sort of a physical intuitive therapy. Like, it's very, very gentle. I've got a friend who does it here. I can link you up with her. It's a very ancient, because it's basically balancing the cranium, you know, the brain. And because when I first started going there, like I was such a mess. Like she said, my gosh, your chakras are upside down and that one's so shut, you know, all of this stuff. So it was just a really gentle process to realign. Because we're so hard on ourselves. No one can actually beat us up more than we beat ourselves up, you know, and that's it's just a very, very gentle process that it just sort of aligns the fluids. And I don't even know how it works, because they'll just sort of move.
It works with, you're working with the cranium, right? With the bones and everything. And it's just a matter of holding the energy. Because I know I've had it done here in Canada as well. So, and I did study a little bit about it, but it's just holding that energy, and and it's just allowing that alignment to come through. Yeah.
I think I'm wondering too, people that are in physical pain, it's also harder for them to maybe heal and adapt. Even like if you move in as a therapist, do you find that physical pain slows people down from actually on their spiritual journey? That it's
yeah, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
It can do. However, what I do, like the process, I call it my shit shifting. You know, I go and it's okay. So where do you feel the pain? Like, where is it in your body? And they might say their hip or their heart. And it's okay. What's the word you see attached to it? The emotion. So we actually physically pull it out. We pull out all of the energy. Like it's, you know, under anger, there's always sadness. You know, there's always sadness, you know, that rage. And quite often inflammation is that sadness or anger or emotions that we've carried in our body. So we physically pull it out till there's nothing there. And then we give it a voice. If that were to have a voice, if that pain in your hip were to have a voice, what would it say? And it might be like, I'm scared, I'm tired, I'm whatever, I'm overwhelmed. And then I do this process called the compassion key. I'm so sorry you're scared. I'm so sorry you're tired. I'm so sorry you're in so much pain. So by the end of the session, the pain will be gone because I've actually given it a voice. And then we replace it with like, so say it was anger. It's what about joy? Let's fill that hip with joy. You know, let's that hip absolutely flood your whole body with joy, because again, like when you get angry, you feel it in the same place in your body every time. When you're sad, it's in the same place. So that's why we have all of these different resentment. You know, resentment is the biggest cause of cancer and disease in the body, you know, so it always goes to the same place in the body. So once you can actually get into those places and it gets trapped in there and you release it and give it a voice, it just transforms it. So the physical pain is also sometimes not dealing with the emotional pain. You know, we're storing it away. So we're not actually dealing with what it is. We're just tucking it inside our bodies.
That's so beautiful. It's absolutely true. I think, I wonder though, it's like with Western medicine, it's not acknowledged at all. So I think most of the things, like I was saying, even like they'll address something like high blood pressure, but not the depression and anxiety
that's caused it.
And what led to the depression and anxiety. It causes the person that exhibit high blood pressure. It just seems like this one thing. Terry, I didn't know if you had something you wanted to say.
No, it's just interesting that when we talk about the diseases that people have, it always starts in the ethers, in the other realms, right? And then we don't deal with it, then it eventually comes in and we manifest it in the physical body. Yeah. So I know when I do healing work too, it's the same thing as you go back and say, okay, what is this about? Like, what are you feeling? The anger or the resentment or the sadness, you know, like, where does it go from? And a lot of times it comes from our past lives as well. Yes. We have a pattern that we have generated, you know, that is generated within our DNA, that we just hold it in. Gee, I'm going to hold it in that sciatic nerve when I can't control things, right? And and where does that begin? Is it you know, going back 10 lifetimes ago? You know,
exactly.
So sometimes it is healing something from the past life that we have.
Exactly. I call it the ancestral line. Part of my my shit shifting that I do is womb healing. So I call it the wombs of time. So we actually come into that, we clear the mother's womb of all of the stuff, because that's everything's passed on through the womb. And then we go back to the original womb that it started in, and they may be an adult or a child, but they may have been being sacrificed or persecuted or whatever in some way, and they've carried that through with them. So we go back with this umbilical cord and we clear it all, and then we bring it back into the now, because I believe it's parallel lifetimes. I believe that all of these things are happening in a parallel universe. So we're just stepping aside to a different dimension to sort that part of ourselves out and then bring it all back in together. Right.
We actually can heal our whole, we can change the past right now through the healing that we are aware that we have, that we can do at this time. So we can change the past and for our ancestors as well. Yeah, exactly. Release them yes. of those challenges. Because they've carried it all the way through as well too. So we're breaking all of the lineage. We're breaking all of those chains of, and that's why the future generations are going to benefit from all of the work that we've done. And you know, like the persecution wound that we've all had as light workers, you know, like that fear of standing in our light and our power in case they rape us again or burn us or, you know, all of that stuff. It's like, well,
they underestimated our power, because we keep getting back up through the lifetimes, and we're more powerful than ever before. And they better watch out now, because we're coming after them now. Like, there's no more being that victim and allow, no, there's no way you're going to set me on flames. There's no way you're going to persecute or violate me in any way without my permission. And it's just not happening. And that's what we're all coming to. Like, we're all coming to this place of empowerment and warrior spirits. That's what we are.
I love it. When I think of, I do not consent for some, I do think of you. You got like that powerful voice, and you're like, I'm not going to take it anymore. I want to say hey to Jan Rockcliffe and Stephanie Eaton and
Hi, Jan. Hi, Stephanie.
Yeah, your ladies are watching her like, she's a pillar. She's amazing. So you got the cheer section back there.
Thank you.
And it's hard to imagine you not being an amazing leader. How in the last couple of years have you found that you've been able to grow in your support of your community? Is it like a local community? Is it more of an online community? Because I see you've kept going for like the last, I only noticed you maybe in the last 3 years, I guess, but how long have you been doing your online journey? And how have you been seeing it, your role change and grow during this past 3 years? Because I don't know, a lot of people might not know that 2020 was the year of the mouth. So it was like, we were all talking and we were all just, now it's kind of like we're quieting down, like, okay, the year of the mouth is over. But when did it start for you, the Facebook online, with your channel and all, and when did it start for you, and how has it been changing? How have you been watching it change?
It actually started with the lockdowns and everything. When I heard about the tunnels and the children, it was like the Carly and me came out, and it's like, this will not be tolerated. It's like, okay, Spirit, what can I do to help? Because I know, and I've always had this knowing I've got a really big purpose, but frustration, it's like, but I realize now I've had to grow for that role to evolve now, because it's just about to explode. But it was that Carly. So, and it was like, so just channeling my higher self. So the meditations on Facebook was the turning point. So I took, and it was like taking humanity through a consciousness, we start with the chakras, starting on the base in the womb, and we went through these journeys of all of the chakras. And so just clearing this stuff on a energetic level for the planet. And so that was the start of that. And then last year I did a most amazing course I've ever done. It's called the Compassion Key, and it's the light work is persecution wound. It was clearing all of the stuff from all of the lifetimes, and it was the most, because I've always done deep inner work. It's always just been my thing. I don't know. It's just always been my thing. But this course was so intense. It was like 3 months of stripping back to the bone, and oh God, how many times have we done that? And I used to call it the eternal fucking onion, excuse my language, because it was like, we'd peel back a layer and there'd be more and more, and you get right to the core and then there'd be more. So it actually broke me open in a totally different way. And learning compassion for the self, that was actually the key in it. I'm not going to be, I'm going to be compassionate to myself now. I'm not going to be that person that's so hard on myself and not valuing me, and I have to keep achieving and striving and being more. I just know that I am, and that's it. And it's not in an ego. I just know that I am all of that I strive to be. I am that. I don't need to strive. So that was that what the course did. It was sort of like this, I don't know, it's like a settling into myself. And from there, everything's just really, like I spent 5 months homeless this year. That was really, and I've done that a few times, but it was like with consciousness and with awareness, and put in situations where, like I was put into this situation with this woman that was doing some really heinous things that needed to be exposed. And, but then Spirit manifested me this beautiful home as a result of it. So going through everything in a conscious way, like just knowing that whatever it is that you're experiencing at the time, it's okay. There's a reason for it, and just go with it. Just trust your intuition and just go with it. And so that's been that evolution over the last 3 years. It's been huge. And for people around too, because people around are growing and feeling more empowered and more, we've all got boundaries now. We didn't have boundaries before.
We did not have boundaries, and we thought we had to love people who didn't love us. We thought we had to share with people who hate us and who don't care for us. And gosh, it's amazing that, you know, that we've been programmed so deeply to really be disloyal to ourselves. Did you want to speak on that? Like what does it mean for you to be self-loyal? Because I think some people think, well, this means that you have to be selfish. But
I think you need to be selfless, you know, in yourself. It's like, because we've always got that ego self, and I've got a very healthy ego, you know, as I grow my ego, you know, but it's not in a big, because I like, my thing is to help, but it's like, it feels like just that God connection, like that connection to the universal source, and knowing that nothing can affect us, nothing can hurt us anymore. And I'm sorry, I think we've gone off track with the question a little bit.
no, self-loyalty and
and just learning that, you know, it's like, if I don't want to do something now, I won't. Whereas before I used to be a people pleaser and go, oh yeah, I'll do that and I'll do this. It's like, actually, no, it doesn't suit me to do that. You need to find your own way to do it. And again, that was that taking back people, giving people back their lessons. I know that I have to keep myself aligned. Like this book is my Bible, The Wisdom of Florence Scovel Shinn. It is the most amazing book, and it's about bringing yourself into right mind. Like you can see it's like been scribbled in, and you know, like it's been my Bible for years, and I keep coming back to it. And this is about calling in that commanding from the universe what it is that you want, and it gets the mind out of the way. So this is the thing that keeps me
wisdom of okay.
And there's 4 books in it. You can actually get them on audiobook. And I share these. I've got a girlfriend, Jan, who's watching, you know, like when this was first, like 12 years ago, this was given to me, and I bought 50 copies and I gave it to friends. And, you know, there's only a few that are still using it, but I've sort of resurrected it because this is what we need to learn. It's, you know, this is what we need to learn, is about that loyalty to the self and commanding from the universe. Like I expect the unexpected. I expect miracles now rather than, oh, I really want it, but I don't think it's going to happen, and obsessing over things now. I just let go and let the universe take care of it, because I know. So that's been a big shift as well of the mind.
I love it. When I see disappointment, as soon as I feel disappointed, I'm like, I know because this happened, I know something good has got to happen, because this wouldn't be happening if I didn't have something to follow. And I'm maintaining that. Some more ladies out there. Heidi, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Lynn Barbalt and Sheena. Oh, is that Shanae? Shanae. And yeah, and people are like, yeah, they're loving it. They're loving what you're saying. You know, I really wish I knew more about the life of Frances Scoville Shinn, because she has the most amazing quotes that if you hold on to what she's saying, things like what she said is that, you know, what is promised to you, it has to come to you. There's no way you can't have it, because it already belongs to you. It's yours. Just, I can only paraphrase it, but she has some amazing quotes that if you really get into that, and it's so funny, I started reading it when I was selling life insurance, of all things. We were really into affirmations, because you get doors slammed in your face and people constantly telling you no. So they were constantly teaching us how to hold ourselves together. And I think that that's what led me to one day meeting people like you. So that is just beautiful and amazing. I don't know if you know anything about her life, or
she was in the 1920s, and she used to go to places and give people what she'd call a treatment, which would be an affirmation. So and she was like a spiritual teacher, and she so she'd have thousands of people there. So she was, you know, people would say, you know, I need a treatment for wealth, you know, and so she would say it. So in the name of God, you know, so she would give them the treatment, the affirmation, whatever it is, you know, God is my infinite supply of the magic purse of the spirit, can never, ever be depleted. As money goes out, more money immediately pours back in. It's always jam, cram, packed with abundance, under grace, in perfect and magical ways. See, I know her backwards. You know, if you have that one thing like that, and you just keep saying it over and over and over, your mind can't get in the way. You know, and that's what it's doing. It's stopping all of the mind. It stops the mind. It stops the lies that the mind that wants to keep you small and wants to beat you up and no, you can't do this. And since I've been doing this just really consistently for the last 3 months, because I keep coming back to her, I've been offered like a chapter in a book, you know, which has come, these amazing magical golden drops that have just come that are literally liquid gold, that are healing people's bodies and mind and spirit in a really powerful way. Like all of these things are just unfolding now, because every day I have my affirmations that I say, and I have no doubt that things are going to manifest now. I have no doubt that I'm going to stand on the world stage. I want to help millions of people. That is my, you know, and it's like, there's no doubt now. There's no mind going, no, but you can't do this, or you've got to learn this, you've got to be more, got to do more. It's like, no, that's what's going to happen, and it'll happen in its own time, because it's happening as we speak. These are different things that are opening up for that to happen. So they should teach this in schools, and it's about trusting your intuition, trusting the teacher within. When you are intuition, the teacher is within you. And that is, of all the books I've ever read, that will be the most significant, amazing, mind-blowing thing.
I'm going to say hey to Kiki, and Jan said, my supply comes from God, whatever it is you want. And what I'm going to say to this is that the world is programming you, and you have to do 10 times the programming for yourself.
Yes.
Because the waves are coming in, even if you don't watch TV. It's in the air, it's in the nanobites, it's in the store. When you're walking next to other people, the programs are there to tell you you're not enough, you're less than, you're not important or significant in your own life, and that everything that everyone else wants is more important than you, and everything everyone else needs is important to what you need. And so we're constantly walking around here depleted and defeated, but it seems like this course led you straight into the book, because it's talking about compassion. And I'm going to show a picture of the book that you're working on, or that you're already completed, right? You ladies have already completed this book.
Yeah, so we've all written a chapter. So it's an anthology of 40 women that have overcome adversity to shine their light in the world, and just beautiful, amazing women. So very excited about that. And that came as the result of a client that I've been working with in America for a long time. She had some really amazing results with the work that we did. And she said, you need to be in this book. So that just sort of manifested as, you know, like it just sort of came out of nowhere. Like it wasn't, and yet I've always known that I'm going to be part of books and writing books and all of that sort of stuff. So it's like all of these things now, the universe is lining everything up. And I can just see it unfolding in the most magical way, because that's what we're here for, to be our magical selves.
That's amazing. So because of a client connection, that's what you were able to be a part of this beautiful thing. How many women are in the book?
40.
Wow, 40. This is going to be a pretty big book. How many pages is it?
They're not sure of the page count yet, which I actually finally just sent the chapter away the other day. But
okay.
Yeah.
What platform are people going to be able to find the book? And
it'll be on Amazon, and we're doing another round of promotions coming up for it soon. So the 5th of October, it's actually going to be launched as a Kindle book, or an ebook.
Kindle, yes.
And then after that, the hard copy is in November.
Hard copy in November. And then hopefully we'll be getting some Spanish and some different languages going forward. It's a powerful project. Someone asked, what are the golden drops? I was thinking it was ormus of some sort, but
no, it's actually curcumin. It's and this again came to me the other day, like a few weeks ago, through a friend of mine that actually did the compassion key as well. And it's in its most concentrated form. So you have 10 drops a day under the tongue, and it gets rid of all inflammation in the body. So it gives you mental clarity, gives you heaps of energy, really good sleep, and relieves all pain, because all of the inflammation in the body goes, and it's processed in a way that it's absorbed 18,000 times more into the body. So if you're taking pure like turmeric and curcumin, pepper and all of that sort of stuff, it only stays in the body for a couple of hours, which is why that pain comes back. So this stays in the body for 24 hours. And just the mind, the results that people are getting are mind-blowing, and I believe that this has come at a perfect time too, because all of the poison that they've put into it's the
Oh, okay, good, because you talk really fast. Vitify.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, Vitify. I've heard that name before. Vitify.
Excellent. And it's just come at the perfect time, I believe, for the next level of humanity, because of all of the poison that's, people have taken. It's actually reversing the effects of that. People are getting up. It's because the inflammation in the body's gone, which is the cause of all disease, like on the physical level, the body comes into homeostasis so it can actually heal itself. So it's just, and this just feels like this is another step in the progression, like it's literally liquid gold. And in my healing, when I've worked with people, the golden liquid of alchemy has been my thing that I flood through people's systems, and now it's manifested in the physical. So,
Oh, I am trapped on another page. Is there a place you recommend to get it in particular, or? I think I see it even on Amazon, but there's maybe local distributors or people that you can see online.
Yeah, I've put a link in there that there's a Facebook page that you go onto, and you put my name into it, Sequoia Haskell, and you just look at all of the amazing testimonials. And at the top, there's a search bar. So you can put whatever illness, like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, everything in the top. And there'll be live testimony, like just amazing testimonials for all of it. So I'll send you the link again afterwards, but it's
I've got it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and see if this long message, if I don't know if they limit the amount of letters, I'm just going to put the whole thing in there. They bounced it back. So I'm going to.
You have to put my name in to be accepted into it. And it might take a while because there's a bit of a queue of people like going in and checking out the testimonials, but it's just, and this has come for humanity, like it's not even officially launched in Australia yet, and it's just it's literally running out the door because it's giving people what they need. Brain fog's gone. Well, once your brain fog's gone, you're thinking more clearly. Sleeping better. Well, obviously that's going to help your demeanor. Energy, because we've been so depleted with what they've sprayed and the foods and everything that we're taking, and no physical pain. And then when you do that, you're bulletproof. Like once you've got those four corners covered, you're actually bulletproof. You've got, yes, okay, right, okay, Spirit, what is it I'm here to do today? And you're just bulletproof.
Okay, so the link, it's in there, and her name, testimonials to order, the email address. I didn't know if you want the phone on there, but.
Yeah, either or, we can take it off. I don't mind.
Okay. She's empowered. She's not afraid. So oh, wow, this is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to when the book comes out and seeing you out and about. This is going to be, you guys are going to do like a physical launch where you all go different cities and things like that. Are you coming to the US or?
I'm thinking I will be. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% yet. I know it'll just click in at the last minute if I'm meant to. My mind is open to go to that because there is actually a conference for the, the people that have co-written the book in November. So in Illinois, St. Louis. So, I'm open to coming, and I know it'll happen in a moment's notice because that's how my life is. I'm a wing it person. So, okay, Spirit, bring it to me now, and it happens.
Yeah, I was talking to the ladies in the comments, like I've used Oramus before, but this is like evidently like more concentrated and more potent. It's really, really exciting because I think gold, monatomic gold and Oramus, when I was taking it in 2000, like I did notice a change in my brain because I noticed that my memory was really, really off, and that fog, like you're talking about, was really, really off. But now I'm like multitasking maniac, But even that though, how do you feel about that? Like maybe multitasking, because a part of this, what you're talking about is understanding that you're enough and you don't have to push yourself too hard, that you're in the right place at the right time. I didn't know if you want to speak more about that. This feeling of maintaining, I can just be, because we are super active. Like you're super active. You got stuff going on online, you got your book, and you got the people that you're helping. Maybe sometimes do you just put everything down? How do you balance?
I do hot yoga. If I don't do hot yoga, because it keeps me balanced. I need heat, like my body needs heat, and it's a really strong, like body movements. I'll do that maybe 3 times a week. That's my way of, for me. And then I just have times I just turn the phone and everything off. It's like if unless you're going to die, I'm not available right now. And yeah, and people that know me know that, so it's cool. But it's like I just turn everything off, because there's nothing that can't be dealt with. Because you're also too, like sometimes when you're feeling a bit off, like if you have those odd moments now, and they're a lot less, but as we become more awakened, those off moments are really off, and you really notice them. So sometimes you just sort of need to realign yourself and everything. But we also seem to come back from them a lot faster. Things that would bother you ages ago for, months, you'd hang on to it.
Yeah.
And now it's just in the moment, it's like, yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. So, and I think that's part of our empowerment. We're just like, I don't allow anything attached to me, any energy, even the stuff that's going on in the world now, it's like I observe it and I send light to it. And I say to people a lot in my meditations, is an analogy of the warrior and the warrior. So the warrior will worry about money, will worry about this. And this is all of us, okay, worry about money. You worry about money, it amplifies. You worry about that person sick, they get sicker. You worry about this, you worry about your job, you worry about that. So you're putting all of these blocks and obstacles in your way. And I say to people, to take the O out of the warrior and put an A in to become the warrior. So the warrior steps aside. The warrior trusts the intuition and the path. So the warrior will send the highest outcome to the greatest good to all of those situations, and then step aside and allow the universe to take care of it, because there's nothing outside of us we can actually do anything about. So the warrior spirit will just, okay, all right, spirit, highest outcome for the greatest good of all, which is the greatest prayer for anything. And just trust, because if you can't, and then that way you're just moving smoothly on your path. You're not stopping and you're not getting stuck on something. Do you know what I mean? And that's been a process to get to that. But the more, and this is also Florence too, it's just stepping aside, allowing the universe to make easy and successful my way.
I love that. The highest outcome for the greatest good of all.
Yep.
I love that. I was in a class once and they said worrying is like praying for the thing you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Like
exactly.
You might as well just snatch it out of the sky. Here's a disease. Here's some,
yep.
Here's another bill. Here's this, here's that, So.
Yeah. And we don't realize how powerful our thoughts are. Like we manifest those situations in our lives because we keep thinking about them.
We'd like to think we don't. And
yes, we would.
We'd like to think we don't. And so this is beautiful because you found ways to give yourself compassion and you found ways to help others with compassion. And I really feel like I just feel your energy should be everywhere all the time. So I just really love it. I just wanted to know, are there any tips that you would give anybody tonight on, before they get a hold of the book? What are some things that you see going on right now? Well, seeing what we see going on right now in the world where it's, hey, we might have another medical crisis, or hey, we're at war with this person, because things just always look so big. I swear I have to stop myself from really focusing on things, because I can get even on this one topic of even like racism or things that are hurting people, gender wars and transgender issues. And it's like, what would you advise people right now as far as like to truly focus on and to get away from feeling so overwhelmed? Like, I know you explained it, but if you were going to just give people advice right now to say, this is the path you need to work on for the rest of the year, because some people feel like the year is half over. I feel like it's half started, but what would be your direction for people right now? Where do you think our community needs to be focusing right now? Because there's even a lot of upset about, well, this person's talents aren't real, and this person's not following the right rules, and this person's not, and it's so much thought being put out on what everyone else is doing. How do you see us coming to a peaceful union, or can we even come to a peaceful union? Because it seems like if you wanted to find a variation of opinions, like it seems like the Lightworker community has just as many opinions as we got churches.
Yep. That's right. Be in the world and not of it. Realize that all of those things, again, are outside of us, and they're manufactured to keep our mind attached to things, because that supports the satanic side of darkness and all of that stuff. You know, like when we attach to those things, like, because it's all stuff that's not truth, you know, none of it's true, you know, like the racism and all that stuff, it's been manufactured, you know, and it's like, so again, not attaching any energy to it. Highest outcome for the greatest good of all, highest outcome for the greatest good of all, you know, because it's like people all have their stuff, you know, their stuff. So they'll focus on this or they'll focus on that. They'll be like part of the transgender or whatever it is, you know, and they'll focus on that and whatever. But again, it's like allowing it not to affect us, because it's outside of us. We can't do anything about it. It's being the warrior. I send my love. I send my light. I send absolute forgiveness to all of these people that have been trapped in the darkness and trapped in that. But I step aside because it's not my path. You know, it's like, what's your path? Our only path at the moment is to be who we are, to go within, because otherwise you go without. And that's it. Nothing outside of us. Nothing. There's nothing outside of it. Us. And Florence, you know, honestly, do this every day, and none of that stuff affects you. It's like you move into the fifth dimensional realm, and you know, like you hear the things, and like we've all come here at this time because we are the guardians of the planet, and it's not going to happen again on our watch. Do you know what I mean? Like we've come here for the most beautiful golden dawn of humanity, where we all come together in love, you know, and love comes from self first. You know, we've got to love ourselves. We've got to accept ourselves, got to stop beating ourselves up and, you know, buying into gossip and all of that sort of stuff. We've just got to be who we are.
And that's a magic word, gossip, because I just made this decision the other day. I just told Terry, I said, I don't want anybody if someone said something bad about me, I don't even want someone to come and tell me what it is.
Yeah, none of my business.
I could have been just as happy not knowing that happened. And another friend of mine, she pretty much said the same thing. Like, guess what? Don't even worry about the gossip, because I remember I sunk 4 days into trying to sort a situation that if no one had ever told me what was said, I wouldn't be sitting here sorting, and my website would be halfway done by now. You know, exactly. I sunk in 4 days of thinking, well, what if this person said this, and what if this person told that person, and what if that person feels this? And I was just like, and I started worrying, and then I thought, you know what, if you don't know me, and if you don't truly know me, who I am, and if you experience my energy and my light, and you know there's just certain things that I'm not participating in, and if you don't know that, then I'm sorry for you. You can go kick rocks, you know, because you don't know me. And if you don't know me well enough to come and approach me and ask me for sure if this is what I think, feel, or do, then you too can also go kick rocks, and universe is going to manifest. You know what I've been asking for lately is, God, move me into a space where we're free. I told Terry before, we were swimming in private pools. We were swimming. We thought we were cool. We didn't know we were in a private pond, and the pond had all these rules. But I asked God to give me new friends and make me, and like kind of like Star Trek, move me into a new frontier.
Yeah,
where I'm not having to deal with these things. And like you said, you've moved yourself into a space where there's some things you used to deal with in the past and you just don't deal with it because you've called in this situation in your life where you're in control of, what you call in, and you say, I don't really need this in my life anymore. I don't need to learn this lesson anymore. And I'm happy with me, and I can hug myself and love myself and be compassionate with myself in these situations. So it's definitely good to hear it from you. And I hear somebody wants to say something.
I was just going to say, there's those wise words of wisdom from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Your opinion of me is none of my business.
Exactly. That's my motto in life. I don't care.
Yeah. And unfortunately, so many people pay attention to what social media says about them and all that. But it's like, we can go on in our lives without having to worry about what somebody else thinks of us, because they don't wake up in our skin every morning. They don't have our thoughts. And I don't care what they do in the morning. So why should I care about what they say?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. For sure. I talked myself into like this whole wild one, but it's just amazing to hear you being so empowered. And yeah, a lot of the times where, people are going to say, oh, it's because of men, and oh, it's because of transgender, and oh, it's because of these things. And they're just, it's really overwhelming to look at these things. But then also to getting to this point where you're saying, well, all these things really have to happen. I don't know what the answer is. And I think too, how are you feeling about this? Like, I think a lot of people want to know everything that's going to happen, and that's why they're watching so intensely. But then also too, there's people putting out a lot of predictions. I know I've pulled back on watching a lot of opinions, but how are you feeling about that? Like, I mean, do you even try to predict what's happening, or how? Because I think a lot of people want to predict how Nasara is going to work. And so then it gets into all these little funnels of, it works like this, and buy XRP and get some gold and do this and do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. There's just some things above my pay grade, but I'm not sure where you stand on those things.
I'm not so much now predicting. I was, but I did do a reading for someone the other day, which I shared publicly. I thought, well, it's either going to happen or it's not, because I thought it's symbolic of what's going on. So she's in England, and I saw like 10 Dowling Street, clear as a bell. And then it was like, I saw all of the politicians being marched out. They were all handcuffed, and they were standing in front of the building, and people were throwing eggs at them, and they were heckling, and like, the witch burners. The witch burners were being witch burned. Then I saw it in Australia and Canada and other places. And so I've got the shivers now. And it was like, she asked when, and I got around the middle of September. So I'll put it out there, whether it happens or not. But I feel that that's symbolic of what's happening, and that we've come for peace. There is going to be like really major, and this is about God. This is ultimately, it's all about God. We're not trusting in God. This is what this whole process, we need to trust that God has got our back. When the Red Sea parted, and he wiped out all of the darkness, it was all of the ones that and God is love. Like, to me, God's about love, and it's about self-love. So the more we love and empower ourselves, the less the outside world affects us. And that ripple effect of us loving and accepting ourselves affects humanity in a really huge way. So I believe that the more we raise our vibrations, the less all of that stuff. Yes, there might be a bit of uncomfortable 3 days of darkness, whatever, but no one knows. But it's because it's God. It's God's moment. None of us actually knows how it's going to show up or how it's going to manifest. I just know it's going to be awesome on the other side, and that I feel like we're on that path now. Like,
yeah, for sure. And I'm not one of those people that says like, I can't wait for this to be over, because I feel like we're finally at the point where if you start to know who you are and what your mission is, well, I'm not ready to just quit like being me and doing the wonderful work of discovery and watching the synchronicities. I want to be able to win the game. Well, like we came here to win, and I want to win.
We already won.
We already won.
We're just walking back. How did we do it?
So
And
I
that's
forget what
because
that
we've
guy's name
empowered
is.
ourselves. That's because we've done the work and we've empowered ourselves. And we need to realize we need to own our power and our magnificence and how much of an effect just our energy has because we're doing that work, and it's like, so I don't have any fear now. Like I'm totally fear, whatever, bring it at me. I don't care. Just bring it at me because it's like, I've got nothing to fear anymore. And ultimately it was me that I was fearing. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And it's like, got to get over that.
Yeah, so I guess it's like Charlie Sheen said, winning. So I really appreciate your time. Any last words that you'd like to say and where people can find you? The link is in here, but if you want to just say it out loud, and we'll wrap up and allow you to take the last words.
Okay, so I've just, I'm not very good on the technological side of things, but I've got a Facebook page, Sequoia Haskell. I do live meditations there. That's just a representation of who I am, I am, what you see is what you get. So, yeah, we just have to claim our magnificence, like we just have to be who we came here to be without any more of that. That's all. That's it. That's all we need to do. Go within. If you don't go within, you go without. And Florence, honestly, Florence and the drops, you've got everything you need for the rest of your life. Abundance, health, wealth, wisdom, all of that. That's that's all you need.
Yeah, there is no competition in the divine mind. And I mean, she says some things that are so powerful that if you have not seen it, Google it. There's websites with it. If you get the book, I don't know, there's probably even like a YouTube where you can listen to it. I know for me, I'm gathering up like things that I've heard from you, like I'm gathering up readings that I've had positive words with. I'm reading my affirmations out loud to give myself subliminals to program myself. And I definitely wouldn't even mind reading like those Scoville shits, like saying it with your own voice and projecting it out loud. This is so powerful that I would definitely like to add that to my list of subliminals for myself, because I feel the power, but there's always more, as people come to shift us and rock the boat, let us be prepared for every good work. That's how I feel. So I thank you so much for your time. And these ladies, they think you're great and they had a great time. And I know more people are going to watch this in the future. And this is going to be like just a living testimony to who you are and what you do. And I just love you so much.
Thank you. And I appreciate you too. So do you want, I've just opened up, I've got an affirmation for
Go ahead.
Excuse me. My heart is a perfect idea in divine mind, and it is now in its right place, doing its right work. It is a happy heart, a fearless heart, and a loving heart. The light of the Christ streams through every cell, and I give thanks for my radiant health. And so it is.
I love that. Beautiful. Because it's talking about the heart too, because I feel myself caught up doing and not feeling. Like I had a lot of feeling, and then I'm moving out of that into doing inside my head. And I was just thinking about like how I need to move back into the heart space again, because you can't stay at war. You can't stay at that vibration of attack and war. I'm being stuck over in my masculine side right now. So I need to like get back in the middle and some blasts of love. So I'm truly, truly appreciating that. So Terry, I don't know if you had anything to say, because
No, I just want to say, Sequoia, it has been a delight to hear your story, your journey, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. It's been a lovely, for us, a lovely evening. For you, it's the beginning of the day, but thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate both of you as well too. So have a beautiful, magical night. Thank you.